Hey, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Draglist Live. We get to bench race with the world's top drag racers. My name's Bill Pratt. It's great to be with you. Tonight on Draglist Live, we're catching up with Paul Conlon, the man behind the legendary Boston Monkey Altered and Top Alcohol Funny Car. From his wild Fiat at the first Funny Car reunion to his low 4-second Funny Car this year, Paul's got 2 decades of East Coast drag racing stories you don't want to miss. Before we bring Paul in, let's go to John. John, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great here, Bill, and howdy from Houston, everybody. Please join us on the live chat. I'll take notes and I'll pass your questions and comments along to Bill and Paul.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. Folks, click the little thumbs up down below, click the share button, and click the little drag list logo to subscribe to the channel. Be sure you let your friends know we have Paul Conlon here live. And to prove it, let's bring him in. Paul Conlon, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Bill. Thanks there, John. I appreciate the invite to come on tonight. That's excellent. Thank you so much.
Excited to have you on. I think the last time I saw you in person, you were collecting money at Budds Creek last year for a great performance in the Boston Monkey Camaro. But you've had a pretty amazing year this year as well. Tell us
Yeah,
about it.
our main goal this year, and like any other year we run the Pro Comp series at New England Dragway, Epping, New Hampshire, and that runs on a heads up 640 class index. So we generally run all their events, which is usually like 4 or 5 events a year. So
Mhm.
that's our main focus. And this year we ran the Funny Car Chaos event out there at Lebanon Valley, New York, at the end of September. So all in all, we ran 6 events and we put 16 passes on the car this year.
It's pretty awesome. That amazing. I saw a 4:15 with a 3 at Lebanon Valley. Was that your best run of the year at that distance?
Uh yeah, yeah, it was. And uh, we only run eighth mile for the Funny Car Chaos event. So we don't, we don't have a lot of experience trying to get this thing to step up and run good eighth mile.
Hmm.
Because we generally concern ourselves at quarter mile and pro comp.
Got it. Well, 640's there, 14's, and at the eighth, that's enough to win a bunch of races.
Yeah, until you get lined up against the number one qualifier, Jim Gifford, then you sort of, you know, we're bringing off to the line to try and compete with him. He's stout. He qualified with like a 370,
Holy
number
moly.
one qualifier, and he ran a 375 against me in the first round, and I didn't have anything for that.
Well, they're stepping it up. But tell us a little about where you are. That's pretty cool.
Well, I'm coming to you live from the Monkey Den. This is my funny car shop, and I live here in Colchester, Connecticut. And I've been here in building, 200 mile an hour blown alcohol fuel altereds and alcohol funny cars since, for about 24 years now. So
Yeah.
this is home.
That's amazing. Well, I saw you. The first time we met was at the first Funny Car reunion, maybe the second one, but I think the first one all the way back in Englishtown in '02. Was that the first time you brought the Boston Monkey out? I know you were out there facing off against the floppers that day.
Yeah. Brazilico Bob allowed us to come on down and run that race. And I believe it was the second one. I think it was 2004.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
that was excellent. I've been watching them guys on the message boards. That's what they were back in those days.
I
And that was
remember.
fun to go down and run with them. But, that was one of them times that we had the monkey out and it just wasn't performing. The handling really wasn't working very good. So to go to a place like Englishtown, which is a top notch kind of facility, that's the first time I ever been down there, as a racer or as a spectator or whatever. And it was disappointing to me not to be able to make a representative run with the monkey. So, it worked out good, but I would have liked to have gone back and eventually made up for that poor performance.
Well, I don't remember. I just remember you being there and being part of the scene. I mean, who remembers all those ETs? I wrote a story about it at the time and took pictures of all the cars and kind of introduced the new nostalgia funny car craze, right? We said I said something like the headline was here's the next big thing. And I think, here we are and, what, 23, 24 years later, it's still rocking and rolling. Pretty
Man, I
cool.
tell you, that took off, didn't it?
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was. It's a
Paul,
good time to it's a good time to be a funny car racer.
heck yeah. Well, it's as, I won't say it's as healthy as it was in the 70s, but it sure seems like it. You have to sort of decide which event to go to. A lot of
Yeah,
things are like scheduled the same weekend, pretty close,
yeah.
which pretty awesome. Well, Paul, tell us about your current setup. I mean, we see the big old top alcohol motor behind you. Tell us about the car.
This is actually we don't run top alcohol funny car with it. We run pro comp.
Hmm.
And top alcohol funny car just be a little bit beyond our means, financially, work wise, and all that stuff. So this current car is a 1998 precision race car that was built down there in the Pennsylvania area, and it belonged to Eric Lurie from right here in Connecticut.
Okay, sure.
And I bought this back and took delivery of it early 2021. And at the time, he had purple colored paint on the body, and I bought it as a rolling chassis. And some of the options that I decided to buy with it was the B&J 3-speed and the Trick Titanium clutch can. I figured if I could keep that drive line the way it was when he ran it, you took a lot of uh, questions out of the picture right there. So
Right.
I took the engine out of the original Boston Monkey altered and the clutch, and I put it in here. So we kept this pretty much the same as what Eric ran, and it's worked good from day one. It's been a great car to drive, and man, when I first brought this home, I'm thinking, after all these years, because I've been running for almost 42 years. It's like I finally got the car that I've been looking for, my whole career. I finally got something that's decent to start with, and it's good sound car because Eric ran really good with this car on top alcohol funny car. So it's
Hmm.
well known he was successful with it, and I'm having a blast, man. It fits excellent.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was a great running Division I car, and he made waves everywhere. It's funny, we break it down by class, I guess, on the drag racing list, but pretty much anything that with an alcohol and a blower, we call an alky funny car. So our Sifka pals out in the West Coast running 750s, part of the scene, all the way through pro comp, all the way to the actual TA guys.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
those crazy fools are running what 530s at 270, and that's whew, nobody wants to strip that many blowers.
Crazy fools.
Well, well,
They
you've
are
got
awesome to watch run, though, aren't they?
they are something else. Well, I know you talked about running pro comp and all up and down the East Coast there with the altered. Who are some of your favorite opponents over the years? Who kind of pushed you the most, or who did you like to beat the most?
Uh, well, the guys that I run against all the time, the guys in pro comp,
Hmm.
uh, Jim Leo, the notorious Jim Leo, uh, Jim Blake, who drives the Englishman altered, and Jim Blake is the brother to Jay Blake,
Oh, no
who
kidding.
has to follow dream.
Yeah.
Now he's switching to a Big Show Nitro funny car for next year. He ran the top alcohol car
Wow.
forever,
That's
and
amazing.
yeah, and the one other guy that is a regular in pro comp is Eric Pearson, the Grape Ape. So we've had low car counts in pro comp for a while, so it's generally us four guys that show up and trying to keep that class alive. So it may be low car counts, but between the four of us, we put on a good competitive show.
Heck, I'd pay to see the Grape Ape versus the Boston Monkey in a 2 out of 3 match race. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I've run Eric a handful of times in qualifying and eliminations, and you got to have your stuff together when you run against any of those guys.
Yeah.
I
Well, that's a
finished I
go
finished
ahead.
third in the Pro Comp series this year. Second last year in 2023, I won my first ever Pro Comp championship. So that was quite the accomplishment. And I tell you, after all these years, it still feels good.
Heck yeah. Well, that's a great, we have some amazing guys from out that way. Rob McCabe is up in New York, but also Oh my gosh, lots. What's my buddy's name? Mr. Anderson. His first name's escaping me right now. Sorry, buddy, if you're watching, but we've covered that series on Draglist, and Billy Anderson. Sorry, Billy.
Yeah, there you go.
Uh, yeah, Billy Anderson has covered us for years. He was sent, updates on the racing up there, and it's always just been amazing. It's just you guys get to, and it's like pretty localized to Epping, right? It's all localized pretty much to one track. Do you guys run elsewhere?
We have in the past, but not too often. We've been up to Napierville running pro comp and
Hmm.
all the regular pro comp guys at that time. That was back in like maybe 2008, 2009. And, we also ran the Supercharged Outlaws up there at Oxford Dragway in Maine back in
Right.
like 2008. But no, it's generally
Hmm.
confined right there to New England Dragway.
It's cool stuff. Before we go on, I guess John's over there checking out the chat line. John, who's out there tonight in the chat bleachers? Anybody?
Oh yeah, we're all just showing up right now, but it's looking good. Rob McCabe said he said I saw Paul at Funny Car Chaos with Bub, the backup banana, and
that's
he
Tell us
also
about the
said,
backup banana, Paul. Hang on there. Let's hear about that.
that's the banana boy, Josh Prevost. He's one of our young crew members, and his other one of our other young crew members, Eric Wyman. He's got the monkey mask on, so he's the monkey man, and Josh is the banana boy. Just to they come up with that idea. The last year we ran down at MIR for the chaos
Yeah.
race, and they're like, "What do you think of this?" And I'm like, "Go for it, man. Have some fun, man." And the
Heck yeah.
crowd loves it.
Yeah. It's
When I
all
sit and all suited up in the car for the jet car show at Million Dragway back in the end of July, I'm in the lanes and Josh has got the banana boy suit on, and man, all kinds of people coming up and getting a picture taken with him, and it's just it's fun to do. Give the crowd something to cheer about and have fun with, man. So yeah, that was there right there.
Love it. Thanks, Rob. Good tip. What's going on, John? Who else is out there?
"Well, Dale and Lisa Broderick just showed up, and let's see, we have some new comments coming in." Rob McCabe said he saw Jim at Lebanon Valley, and he said Eric Payon usually is up there as well.
Hmm.
And let's see, Mark Zajac, I believe it is, said, "Is my brother Matt on tonight?" And no, not tonight, as far as I could tell. And
That is that the photographer, Mark Zajac? Let's
I
see.
think so.
Howdy,
See, what
brother.
what we have on the chat line is we get the at icon that comes in, and then their code name. So I
Mm,
don't know everybody's name, but I
okay.
can see, what's going on there. And Derek Wyman said, "Hey, Paul, just checking. Great to see you on a live talking about Banana Boy and Monkey Man."
Speak of the devil, there he is.
That's funny.
And let's see, Rich Panacaro is with us tonight. He's up in New Jersey, and Fred Purley just checked in. So people are still showing up, and we got it going on tonight, y'all.
Sounds good, John. We'll tell them sleepyheads get to wipe the sleep out of the get the naps done and get on here and ask some questions. Great to see you all, guys, and very, very cool. So, oh my gosh. So another guy I wanted to mention that it sent, I was thinking about all the great photos and coverage of Epping over the years, and then it's my buddy James Morgan, the photographer. I don't know if you've met the damned kid back in the funny car, reunion days and the
That's
online things. They would call
that's
him the
who.
damned kid.
Yeah, that's who Rob was talking about, no doubt.
Yeah, he's fantastic because he would do, when he was a kid, his dad would take pictures of him at the 70s funny car meets, and then he grew up to be a really great photographer. And then with his own son, who's now, God, probably a teenager or even his 20s, it's been a long, long time that Jim's been sharing photos with us. So just another shout out to one of the guys up there that I never did make it up that way. I really need to get up there and see. see what's going on. But let's talk about some of the folks that are helping you out, like crew or sponsors or mentors. Who's some of the folks that helped you out along the years, and you might want to give a couple shout outs to and say howdy.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'll give you an idea who's on the crew. My brother and Frank Conlon, he's my longtime crew chief
Mm-hmm.
and partner in crime. And uh, from there, a longtime friend, Bobby Kiria, who's been a crew member for quite a while. And man, he has saved my butt so many times on this car when something isn't going right, and he seems to just put his hand on the car and just find out where the problem is. And my brother Steve Conlon is on the crew. Matt Zajac, who is brother to Mark Zajac, the one
Uh-huh.
that you were talking about that you get the pictures from.
Uh-huh.
He's sent up quite a few to you. So those are the veterans. We got 4 kids on the crew, and kids, I mean, like mid to upper 20s, kids to us.
Yeah,
And one
amen,
is,
man.
and I tell you, the sort of new addition, maybe within 5 years that we've had these guys, and they take a lot of the heavy lifting off of us. That way, us veterans can, concentrate more on trying to get the tune up right. These guys are doing, the hard work. And we got Tim Palmer, and the next 3 guys, we call them the Weymouth kids because they grew up in Weymouth, Mass together. Derek Wyman, Mike Lee, and Josh Prevost. And we basically turned the running of the car over to the kids. And, they're the ones starting the car and priming it and lining me up, behind the car, in front of the car, and they're adjusting the timing, and they're checking the valves after each run. They're packing the parachutes, jacking the car up in the air, fueling it. So it's worked out really good, because I've worked, man, for years and years and years trying to get the right crew, and these guys come along at a good time, and we've got really a good, smooth running crew, and they can pretty much handle, any troubles that come up, and they're good at it. I'm lucky to have them.
That's really awesome. What are, how many more crew members typically does it take you to run a funny car than it did back when you had the altered?
We got more on the car now because we're doing more. We weren't doing quite as much work in between rounds that we did on the altered. And that's mostly because we're learning more. The more you learn, the more you do.
Right.
So, right now we got 8 guys and then plus myself as a driver. So we got more than usually any other pro comp car. But, with the funny car, you sort of tend to uh, end up with more work to do than you would with a rear engine dragster or whatever.
Right.
But it works. And anytime we run the car out, I'd like to have every one of them guys there. And that's what we do when we count on them guys being there, and we can handle whatever comes our way.
Sounds great. What do you typically do between rounds for maintenance in the Pro Comp series, Paul?
What we do here, we started doing this year because we ran into some valve train issues. We'll pull the valve covers off, and we'll go through and not lash the valves, but we check the rocker arms and make sure we got movement at each area in there, and we also retorque the nuts for the rocker stands. We had an issue with them earlier, so we rechecked the torque on them, and when they pull the plugs, they're giving them the Frank. Frank's looking them over for, a rich and lean kind of condition, and then
Hmm.
your typical take the cover off the clutch can, and we got a good cooling blower set up, so we cool the clutch, and if we need to be checking the air gap, resetting it or whatever, we do that as well. And of course, your typical stuff, pack the chutes, fill the tank back up, the fuel tank, and check the oil tank. And that's about it. But it keeps us busy. And
Hmm.
generally in pro comp, if you got the weather working good for you, we're making a pass like every other hour and a half or so.
Hmm.
So this sort of keeps us, keeps us busy. And plus, one of the other things we're doing too is making sure we get the right air pressure in the tires before we leave the pit area
Right.
too.
Yeah, there's
So
not a lot of lag time without it's not the 45-minute deal like NHRA, but it's not a lot of lag time with an hour and a half either, is it?
yeah, I like it though. I like I said, it depends on their schedule and the weather, but I like once we get going, I like to let's stay busy and keep running the car. That way, if you sit for too long, you sort of lose your momentum a little bit, you know?
Right.
I'd rather, let's like, pro comp to the lanes. Let's go. Let's
Right.
go make another run and let's keep this thing moving.
Right. No, I love it. Well, you're run it as you mentioned, you run pro comp at on the 640 index, but I've got like in 2016 or in 2020 went to like a 626, a 223 and 224 one time in 2016. Are those your best numbers so far?
That was with the original monkey,
Okay.
the altered,
Okay. Oh,
which,
no kidding.
was known as the irate primate. And that 626 was run at the Dover uh, drag strip reunion that
Okay.
Dino puts on,
Yeah.
like towards the end of September out there at Lebanon Valley.
Right.
So he booked us in 2020 to run with three other alters, and John Wall, the Night Moves alter is one.
Yeah.
Bruce Peterson and the New York Earth Shaker
Right.
was another one. You recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
And Rick Berlusconi with the Instigator he was from Massachusetts. So we weren't confined to the 640 index out there, so we could do whatever we want. And it was our last event of the year, and I ran against Bruce Peterson. I wanted to run that guy so bad, and I beat him because with like a 634, he had trouble. He ran like a 650 something.
Yeah.
So after being back in the pits, somebody brought up 634. That's you tied your career best DT. And I'm like, yeah, the wheels started turning. Like, on the picture handouts, I always write my best DT and mile an hour on them. I've been writing
Right.
634 for like 8 years. And it's like, we need a change, man. We need to bump that up. So for the last run of the day, we only made the two runs. We bumped it up, and it was sort of getting late. We're gonna get ready to be called. So we didn't have time when we finally figured out we wanted to do this. So I just raised the shift RPM from 7,400 to 8,200. Let's
Mm-hmm.
step on it. And
Wow.
that's what I did. I went out there and got that 626 at 223. But that was also the very last pass I made with that car because we had some parachute problems, and I went into the sand trap at high speed up there at Lebanon Valley, and
Oh man. On the
that was the last
626?
time. What's that?
On the 626 pass? You
Yeah,
went into the sand?
it was a beautiful run until after the finish line.
You had it fully under control. You're like Don Roberts. I had it fully under control. After about the third flip, I felt like I probably lost control of it or whatever is famous saying. Our friend Don, he's awesome.
That's awesome. That was in the Jade Grenade popular.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that makes perfect sense too.
So is that the reason you went to the Camaro then, the Eric Laurie car, is because you had crashed the altered or I shouldn't say
Y-
crash, but put it into this.
Yeah. Uh, we got back to the pit area. My former clutch guy, Doug Palmer, and I were talking, and you know, at that point, I wanted to drive something with carbon fiber brakes. I needed to make the
Mhm.
car a little safer because I was still running steel rotor brakes on that car.
Wow.
And I started looking at it was going to need a rear end probably. So I was looking at the cost of that, and you know, Doug suggested that Eric Lurie's car was still available. He sold the engine, so I wasn't interested in the engine. So it's like, let's give him a call.
Hmm.
We'll go talk to him, and sure enough, he still had the chassis. Nobody was interested in it, so it was going to be rolling chassis with the body, and the body that you see in the pictures now, and
Yeah.
he had the carbon fiber brakes on it and the 7-point harness. And one of the biggest improvements was the oil heater for the oil tank.
Uh-huh.
Because that day when I ran the monkey off the end of the track at Lebanon Valley, this was late September. When we left the hotel that morning, we got frost on the tow vehicle's windshield.
Yeah.
So it was a cold day, and man, it was probably 4 hours in between the first run and the last run, and so we religiously heat the oil on this thing, regardless what the temperature is outside, because on that run, when I ran it off the end of the track at Lebanon Valley, when I lifted at the finish line, it also broke the number 6 connecting rod
Oh no.
because it just wasn't flowing the
Just
oil,
trying to, yeah, trying to
so
pull him through that sludge there.
that's, I got 2 black eyes out of that, the sand trap and the broken rod.
Oh no. Well,
So,
make it,
you learn. And
yeah.
the oil heater, like I said, we use that religiously, and it's worked out good.
You can't say you didn't give it your all. I know that one of the things you were right back in '05, I got a note. I don't know if I talked to you or read about this, but you said you were looking at gearing and blower overdrive and you figured out you could trade some ET for mile per hour and back and forth back in the day. Do you remember those comments a long, long time ago? Obviously, I'm
Uh,
going 20 years back, but
I remember them, but I don't remember, telling you.
yeah, the
But
context.
yeah, and the idea behind that, we had 456 gears in the rear end, too much for what we're doing, and the RPMs across the finish line were generally about 9,000 or something. And we're like, you know what? Let's drop these things down to our current 430s, and it dropped the RPMs down to like maybe 85, 8,600, and it took the load off the valve train,
Hmm.
because it took away the RPMs, and it put it more on the bottom end, because the bottom end was along for the free ride at that point.
Right.
Your valve train was doing all the work with the RPM, so
Yeah.
it calmed that. It calmed the valve train right down, and on top of that, right at that same time, uh, I had some bridge brackets that, we put the bridge brackets on that would connect between the intake and the exhaust rocket shaft. So that helps stabilize that whole top end like that. So with the RPMs and the bridge brackets being supported, it worked out real good and just made the car live much, much longer.
That's pretty great. Yeah, I think it sounds to me, correct me if I'm wrong, but all that fancy high dollar stuff is up there in the top part,
Yeah.
and if you take the strain off of that and put it on some of the stronger lower bottom end stuff, you're probably in better shape.
Yeah. Top is where the jewelry is.
That's a great way to think about it. Exactly sort of where I was going.
Yeah.
Let's check in with John and see who's out in the chat bleachers. I stole that line, of course, from the spicy meatball, but I love it. So she's great. Who's visiting us there, John?
Crafty Kate just joined us, and she
Howdy.
says good evening to everybody. And you were talking about Lebanon Valley, Bill, that you wanted to get up there and everything. Well,
Hmm.
Rob McCabe said, same here. He said, I was planning to go to Epping on 2 occasions for the Nationals 2018, but then Englishtown ended in 2020. We all know what happened there.
Hmm.
And he said, next season I might not go at all to the track. No funny car chaos at Lebanon Valley. And the divisional is July the 4th weekend, and it falls on Saturday. My day job will not let me off for that.
Oh no.
And I told him, I know what you mean, man. I'm working to keep my priorities straight here. And he said, I hope to stay ahead of the game on the drag list updates instead of falling behind. Well, Rob, you are more than ahead of the
Yeah.
curve with us, man. You're doing a great job on that.
I come in every day. There's several new entries, including like IHRA from yesterday. I mean, and Galat. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he
Yeah, I
said,
watched that.
right. Paul, you're running IHRA, aren't you?
Have you or do you plan to maybe run a couple of those events, Paul? I mean, IHRA, they're not quite top out. I guess they are. I don't know, but
Yeah, those guys, the thing there is the limiting idea there. Those guys have run screw blowers.
yeah,
And,
yeah, they
I've got
are.
a,
They are.
yeah, I don't have anything for them guys, man.
Yeah,
So, Bill Naves ran that national event down there in North Carolina at Galat, and
yeah.
he's running a roots blower, but I just can't see trying to keep up with those guys. It's just way above what we got right here.
Yeah.
So I would like to, but I would also like to be able to be competitive if we're going to do something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, back in the
But you
day,
never know.
IHRA did run roots blowers. That was the Mark Thomas days and Bunny Burkett and everything. They stuck with roots when NHRA went to the screw blowers, and it was a different type of racing. It was all great, but it
Yeah.
does cost a bit to have to do those big end blowers, doesn't it? Because that adds to stress on the entire system, doesn't it? It's not just the blower.
Yeah, but I understand the screw blowers, even though you turn them up and run them hard, I understand they run a lot more efficient and a little more easily on the blower itself. The roots
Yeah.
generates a whole lot more heat, and
Mhm.
I believe it takes a whole lot more horsepower to drive a roots blower than a
Mm-hmm.
screw blower, you know. And if we
That's
could have
right.
run with those IHRA guys back in those days with the roots blower, that would have been right up our alley.
Mhm.
That would have been excellent. So we would have been able to participate in that and be competitive with them guys. But those IHRA days, as far as the roots blowers go, yeah, they're long gone.
Yeah, well, I don't know that, now I'm going to open up a can of worms here, but I mean, just like they do pro mod and other categories where you kind of offset, I wonder if there's a weight, something on weight or something that could be maybe imposed to get more cars.
Yeah, and there is a weight difference, but I think you're talking a difference of like maybe 100 pounds between a weight break for the roots type car than a screw blower
Oh,
car.
okay,
But
so they do have that in
100
place.
pounds,
Yeah,
yeah, you know,
that's lunch for me. Come on, Lenny.
yeah.
John, who else we got out there, brother?
Well, Rob said, yeah, we're talking about blowers, and he said it looks like Edge is ahead of everyone, with some stay in the fray, like Mullins with the Roots blowers.
Hmm. Yeah, I've known Bruce for a long, long time, and we partnered with a sponsorship a long, long time ago. But he's
Oh, was
always
that?
been a roots guy, in the Warhorse. But he called it then. I don't know what his new car's called, but they're always beautiful. Good
Yeah,
custom painter.
that car is awesome, man. We made a qualifying run against him at the last MIR chaos race down there, and
Mhm.
man, that is a beautiful car. I think that was like his first. It might have been one of his first times out that weekend,
With
and
that one, yeah, I think you're right.
yeah,
That was the first time
awesome.
with that one. Yeah.
And I think he
Yeah.
ran at the IHRA the lot race over the weekend with that car.
Okay, I'll look it
So
up.
I think so.
I should have been watching every round, but
Yeah,
anyway,
we got
any
work to do, you know.
I got stuff to do. Yeah. Anybody else out there, John?
Yes, Crafty Kate asked if Paul has any advice for newbies.
That's a great question. Thanks.
Yeah. I was thinking of that question because I've been watching a couple of you guys podcast, and that question has come up. And I tell you what, my good friend, when I was living and working down in South Florida for Pratt Whitney Aircraft, Dale Smith, who ran Coyote Composites, he was making some
Hmm.
nostalgia funny car bodies, especially like the 71 Plymouth satellite body.
Yep.
And, it took me almost 10 years from the time I bought that original monkey to finally put it on the track. And probably, halfway through, three-quarters of the way through, I'm complaining and man, this thing's taking too long and it's costing so much money. He goes, the way you got to look at this, Paul, is when you finally finish this thing and put it on the track, it doesn't matter how long it took you to get there, you
Hmm.
know? So I've stayed true to the idea of doing it the way I wanted to. It turned out way better than I ever thought it would. It took a lot longer than I ever thought it would, and it cost a whole lot more money than I thought it would. But man, the first time you get in that car and drive it, it doesn't matter how long it took to get there. So that would be my advice. Don't give up on it. If you got a vision in mind, stay with it because it, if you stay with it doesn't matter what you run into. You'll eventually get there. If as long as you're willing to stay with it. So that'd be my advice. Pick something cool and stay with it. Don't give up on it because sooner or later you'll wear it down. It'll give in and you'll be able to go out and take it to the track.
You outlast it, man. And it's a battle of wills. Yeah.
10 years, Bill. Can you imagine that? Sticking with that project for 10 years without ever turning a tire?
Wow. We'll see. I didn't realize you had 10 years on it before I met you. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's
It was worth it.
that's great. And shout out to Dale Smith, one of the another guys that goes back to the message board days and the
Yeah.
Funny Car Reunion website and online message board and all that good stuff. So good guy.
I
But
wish he was still making bodies because I would love to have him make a Monza body
yeah.
for me. And he was working on a Monza body towards the end of his body making days, you know. And
Uh-huh.
I would love to replace the Camaro body on this thing with a nice Monza body because those are the funny cars I liked watching
Sure.
when I was a young teenager, like the Monzas of King and Marshall and the Boston
Yeah.
Shaker and Tim Kushai's Yankee Sizzler
Yankee
and
Sisler.
Barry
Yeah.
Bergen's Orange Baron. So yeah, I would like to put
Yeah.
a nice low slung Monza on it.
They're one of my favorites. So is nobody doing Monzas these days for your wheelbase or something like Funny Farm or a Funny Farm or anybody like that?
Yeah, I think maybe Glory Days down there
Hmm.
in your area,
Hmm.
Pennsylvania, Maryland area. I think they
Yeah,
might be making one, but I haven't made that commitment yet.
gotcha. Well, there's always next year, or 10 years from now, we'll get
Yeah.
build it the way you want it. You got a great hot rod right now.
Yeah, it
John,
is. I like it.
any awesome. John, anybody else with a thought?
Crafty Kate just said that was awesome advice, Paul. And and I'm learning a lot tonight, man. I don't know that much about top alcohol funny cars, and you're giving us a class in your shop on this, man. It's really great. And Rob McCabe had a couple of comments. He said, I know when Eric Lowry owned the Camaro, he was right there in the mix. He was a
Yeah.
mid 560 player. Even if Manzo, Gill, Follow a Dream, etc., were about a tenth or more ahead, he was still in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Division 1 top alcohol is not anywhere you want to play around, man. Like all the world beat, 3 or 4 or 5 world, and it's tough all over the country, but yeah, when you got Frank, you got Paul Gill, you got Follow a Dream for sure. Those
Mm-hmm.
guys
Yeah.
are amazing. And
Freddie
then,
Tiggers.
yeah, Tigges is there. I mean, forget about it. That's a show in itself.
Absolutely. Him and Mark. That's where I got my Crower clutch from was from Mark and Freddie Tiggers. So I
Hmm.
went from a Hayes clutch to a Crower clutch in this car way back in I think maybe 2009, 2010.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, never looked back after that, man. I got two Hayes clutches sitting down in the cellar.
Okay. For future use. Well,
Yeah.
Paul, give us like a road story, man. What anything weird happened on your way to the track or at the track? Just a twist of fate or something that sticks in your mind?
No, we've had pretty good luck going to and from the track. I got a decent setup.
Hmm.
2005 Chevy 4500 Kodiak and a 40-foot gooseneck trailer. So, when I stepped up to those, the road troubles sort of disappeared, and
Nice.
but when I was on my way over to going through Rhode Island, I was heading up to Boston to meet up with the crew to run the car the next day. Uh, you know, for some reason, all kinds of bells and whistles started going off in the truck, and man, I just climbed this big hill and stopped at the stoplight, and the truck just quits right then and there.
Hmm.
It's like this isn't good. It ended up being like a sensor in the coolant tank, and the thing wasn't going to allow me to move. I was able to limp it off the road and get it into a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot, and I called for a tow truck. I was going to have to leave the trailer there, and
Right.
uh, so while I'm waiting for them, I called my good friend down the street, longtime friend Glenn Chalosky, and I told him. So it's like go in the trailer and make up a jumper wire and go find that sensor on that coolant tank, unplug it, and take that sensor wire, loop it so it's reading. And I did that and took it for a ride down the street, and it was working fine. So when the tow truck finally showed up, I'm like, you know what? He came all this way. I'm paying for it anyways.
Oh,
We just hooked it back up to the trailer, and he followed me all the way home till I got off the highway, and he was heading down along the coast of Connecticut, and he goes, "You make it till you exit. I'll just give you one of them." So, but other than that, I haven't had much in the way of, knock on wood, troubles on the road getting to or from there.
that's great. Any wild things on the track where you won or lost based on some quirk of fate or some mechanical deal on the car?
Yeah, it's running Jim Leo, that notorious Jim Leo. He
You look like
he was
that
he
internet meme baby when you did that. All right, let's go.
he's a good racer, good friends with him, but he's still notorious. I ran him in the original Monkey and had him covered, got down by the finish line, and uh, I that's that year we had trouble trying to shift the car into high gear, and we fixed that by boosting up the line pressure with a CO2 bottle. We had it at about 150. We bumped it up to like maybe 250 for the Linko, and so I would get down there towards the finish line, and the car wouldn't shift in a high gear. You're not gonna run it against the finish line in second gear. And so
Yeah.
I get down there and I lift him like, oh man, he's gonna come right by me, and sure enough, right by me at the finish line. And man, I was shouting and screaming inside my helmet, and also something else got my attention. The back zoomies on each side of the thing had broke at the header flange. And
Oh
now the thing
man.
sounds like a nitro car down there in the finish line area. And so, yeah, that sort of adds to some of the excitement. Being off the end of the track at Lebanon Valley, that was an exciting thing. And I've been there with the Monkey one time at Epping, the original Monkey, and ran that into the sand trap. And that was a late shoot kind of deal. And I get into the sand trap, and so I hang a right. And I'm starting to steer it out of it, and the car's starting to dig down into the pea gravel, and the car is still running. So I'm like, you know what? I just go, with the throttle and the clutch, and drive that thing right back out of the sand trap and park it over out of the way. And
Sand drags are out in the San Diego area. What are you trying to do over there?
I tell you, that's no fun. I had a screeching, smoking, getting kind of stop with this funny car at Epping, just short of the sand trap. And I'm like, I can't believe this is happening again. So I've been pretty lucky as far as on track incidents.
Sounds
But
like
boy,
you
I
got to
tell you,
go.
it gives you an opportunity to have issues,
Yeah.
especially the altered. That thing had a mind of its own, man. You never knew which way that thing was going when you left the line in that car.
Well, that's the altered's nature. Can't
Yeah,
change nature.
nature.
That's awesome.
Don't
All
mess
right.
with Mother Nature.
That's right. Well, Paul, let's go to John one more time. John, any final thoughts from the crowd or from you?
Everybody is agreeing with everything Paul is saying to us, and man, you're just giving us a terrific interview tonight. We're talking, and I can't quote you because it was a few minutes ago, but Rich Panicaro said amen, and Rob McCabe said yes, and I said yes, and everybody, you're just doing it great, man. I think you're running the chaos events, aren't you?
Yes, but the Chaos just released their 2026 schedule about maybe 2 weeks ago, and there are no East Coast Chaos events on the schedule for next year.
Right,
It's
right.
too bad. I
That
know we
and
missed ours
that's
at Budds
disappointing.
Creek. Yeah, I really enjoyed it last year. Well,
Yeah, but that place, I tell you, that was my first time being down at 2023 for the first one, and man, I tell you, what a beautiful facility that is. You guys are
yeah,
gonna have a blast with that national event next year down there.
yeah. We'll be there. I can't hardly say I can't go. I'm 12 miles away. So
So
it's
much for the cost of a hotel room. You don't have to
yeah,
worry
we don't
about that, huh? But
no
when
problem.
we ran that first chaos race down there, we had just one qualifying session scheduled for Friday night, and I'm all suited up in the car, and you know, it, at the top of staging, you turn right to get onto the track. And, at this point, it's already night. And man, that was so impressive when you make the turn. And that place is lit up as like, wow, this is cool, man.
Wow.
And it was really a great experience with the track people down there and the spectators and the races that we ran. It was an awesome event. And, my brother Frank and I talked to Chris Graves when he come by up there at Lebanon Valley to give us the ladder for the first round. I said, if hopefully this race will stay here at Lebanon Valley, but if it moves somewhere else on the East Coast or something, we're with you, man. We'll go down and support you.
Hmm.
And that was excellent to have that opportunity. And man, I just wish that, it wasn't so far away out there in the Midwest to run that
Yeah,
series with them guys.
it's a
What an
big
awesome
country.
series. Yeah.
Well, but Paul, it's been so great to talk to you. Let us know, where can we find you and follow along on the internet? Do you have a website or Facebook page where fans can follow along?
Yeah, Facebook, Boston Monkey drag racing.
Okay.
And I tell you what, before we go, can I mention some of my supporters?
Please do. Yeah, absolutely. I thought we shouted out earlier, but how about those supporters and those sponsors and stuff? Let's hear from.
Yeah, we talked about the crew members. So some of the supporters I've had, and they're a long time, and man, they're really valuable. Sassy Racing Engines out there in Brownsburg, Indiana. John Card and his lead engine builder, Anthony Gavel, they've taken good care of me. They've been building my Hemi engines for probably since 2020. They build
Nice.
Hemis all day, every day. So how can you
It's
go wrong with
Sassy,
that?
like SASSY, or how do you say
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Oh,
Yes, Sassy. They used to be located in New Hampshire, and they're well known for tractor puller engines, and they've got a lot of championships and tractor pulling that just add up, and I was able to bring them a championship in pro comp the other year
yeah.
in 2023. So, I've done my part to help them out.
That's right.
Ash's Auto Body in Weymouth, Mass. Jimmy Ash, he painted the original monkey for me twice, and with this Camaro, we're going to put a wrap on it, and he went ahead and epoxy primer that car after all the body work. So yeah, he's been a huge help. Next up would be Primetime Video and Photo. Richie Curry and his lovely sister Rose. They're the official track photographers for New England Dragway, and they have the capability of not only taking the photos, but they can print them and frame them right there in the trailer, right on the spot. So
Nice.
I've bought a lot of pictures over the years from Richie, and he's done my picture handouts, so he's excellent to work with. Competitive Edge Coatings, they've done all the outer coat work on the original Monkey and the header coatings on this one and the original Monkey. So Damon Schuster up there in South Windsor, they do excellent work. Trowel Clutches, Roger Levine out there in San Diego, California. He researched my 3-disc trowel clutch every year for me. He's been really good to work with. He upgraded my clutch last year to the center bearing support. So, we got a good clutch. And this is all titanium now. I
Wow.
upgraded from the aluminum, and I bought this titanium clutch maybe 2 years ago from Dan Mercier, top fueler from
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah.
And he ran it in his alcohol car, way back in maybe early, early 20 teens or so, Uh, New England Race Fuels, John Holland there in Burlington, Connecticut. I've been buying my alcohol from him for 20 years. He's been a great help to me. And Hoosier Tire East, Brian Brown there in Manchester. I've been running Hoosiers all but 1 year on the car, and they work excellent. And the last one will be B&J Transmissions from there in Linden, Utah. You had Steve Macklin on your
Yeah.
show the other week.
We know Mr.
And,
B&J for sure.
I bought a brand new one from him, uh, you know, and I put it in the car just back in mid-September, and I got one of those the new style with the CNC cases, and man, you're talking about jewelry. I'm thinking about taking this thing in the house and put it in front of the fireplace for the winter. Why leave it out here in the garage?
Yeah.
And I tell you, we just stuck with the same ratios in it because it was working. And when we put this thing in the car, in the funny car in the middle of September, my last two races. I ran a career best without even stepping on this thing.
Wow.
626 with a one
Wow.
at 227.92 miles an hour. Car just
Wow.
took off,
I
and
love it. I'm writing.
I attribute that to that transmission. So yeah, Steve did a great job, and that worked out good. So that's my list.
I love it. Well, and that's you're making my day with your best times for the drag lists. And I know Mr. Rob is listening, so he'll probably have it in the list before we get off the air. But if not, I'll get it in there myself. Paul Conlon, the Boston Monkey, what a great visit with you, sir. Have a fantastic Thanksgiving, a great holiday, and we'll see you somewhere down the road.
Hey, sounds good, Bill. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, John. I really
But
appreciate the invite to come on and talk with you guys. And I've been watching ever since we talked last month, and I've been watching each Monday night, and I'll probably be watching each Monday night from here on out.
I love it. We're gonna get new followers one at a time by bringing them on and introduce and
Yeah,
making
what
them
a great
so.
crowd.
Thanks a lot, Paul.
All
Everybody,
right.
Paul Conlon, Boston Monkey Racer, right from what is it? The Monkey Pit, the Monkey Crew. Where are we at there?
The what? The monkey what?
The Monkey.
Oh, the
Where?
monkey den.
The Monkey Den. There you go.
You drew a bird, man. Yeah, this is the world famous monkey den.
There you go. Have a good one. All right. Good
Thanks,
night,
Bill.
buddy. Bye.
Bye, John.
Oh man,
Good
Paul
night, Paul.
Conlon, everybody. Oh, unbelievable. Let us go to John Bachman for this week's JB's Take and the Racer of the Week. You have a special one this week, don't you, John?
Yes, thank you, BP. As I am unmuted, I'm ready to go. My pick for Racer of the Week is Justin Walker from New Plymouth, New Zealand. Justin's street legal 65 Falcon Sprint and his 63 Galaxy 500 XL are two of the finest hot rods I've ever seen, and I'm proud to feature him in his cars tonight. Visiting Aussie street machiners are often jealous of how good the Kiwis have it when it comes to New Zealand's liberal registration rules and how gently they are policed. Blown, tubbed, and even bonnetless streetcars are left to cruise in peace, provided the driver is well behaved. Now, Justin's 65 Falcon Sprint is a perfect example of what can be done in the shaky Isles. Justin took a strip-only 8-second bruiser and after a stack of work, got it legally registered to prowl the streets, complete with a ladder bar rear, fat rubber, and a crank-mounted Pro Charger. Justin already had some runs on the board in the tough streetcar department before the Sprint, but when he came across this Falcon for sale, he found himself intrigued by the possibilities. He said, "I could see it was a good race car, but I thought it would make an even cooler street car, even if it was missing a bunch of stuff required for the registration, and such as wipers and headlights." He says, "Thankfully, many of the Sprint's components are interchangeable with Mustang items from the same era, so sourcing them wasn't too difficult. It's just that there were a lot of them to source. The car's previous owner had run a best of 8.3 seconds at around 170 miles an hour before the crank-driven F2 Pro Charger started making unhealthy noises and was pulled to be repaired. What Justin didn't know when he purchased the car was that the Pro Charger noises were masking a much bigger issue. The flex plate bolts on the 430 cube Dart-based Windsor had sheared, leaving the torque converter holding the whole shooting match together. And Justin holds no grudges against the seller, though. He knows full well that on a car like this, shit happens. It soon became apparent that the whole rotating assembly needed to be replaced. So Justin had local engine builder Steve Hildred screw together a new combo with Ross pistons and Scat forged rods, along with the freshly repaired Scat crank. While the heads were off, it became apparent that they'd been victim of a home porting job, so they were swapped out for some new AFR items. One thing that didn't need changing was the Pro Charger, which makes itself known through a giant bell mouth in the front bumper. Converting the setup from race to street took a bit of fabrication work, but nothing that Justin couldn't handle himself in his Takanari-based home workshop. That included moving the passenger floor mounted intercooler to the back seat area and replumbing the boot mounted ice tank, all to ensure that a passenger seat could still be fitted. Justin repaired the previously butchered items tunnel, the recently butchered trans tunnel, and remounted the Cheetah SCS shifter for the reverse pattern trans-braked ATI gearbox. Sadly, when he got the trans back in the car, he discovered that it too had seen better days and needed to be torn down for a full rebuild. Fortunately, the 9-inch rear end, 35 spline Moser axles were okay and remain untouched. Justin wasn't a fan of the older Thunderbolt-style bonnet scoop, so to get a more modern look, he replaced it with his own much more subtle version that still clears the Wilson elbow and a 125mm throttle body. Beside the new bonnet and bumpers, the rest of the car is all steel, and other than a coat of custom yellow paint, it looks exactly as Ford intended, including the cool side trim. Justin's not had a chance to race it yet, but given the car low eights with a motor that was on its last legs, there's every chance 7-second passes are in the Sprint's future. Now, Justin's colossal four-door 1963 Galaxy 500 XL is a real head-turner, sporting a perfectly proportioned chop and highlighted by big rims and a healthy blower poking through the bonnet. But it was a long, somewhat hellish ordeal for the Kiwi to get to this point. Justin said, "I wasn't focused on a 63 Galaxy, but I like the look of this one in dark maroon paint. It was chopped and mini-tubbed. It had been featured in a bunch of American mags," Justin says. "Speaking of the owner, it sounded great, so I bought it sight unseen, and it was a big mistake. I really should have had someone look at it." Instead, Justin trusted that all was well and had the 63 shipped to New Zealand. But from the moment it landed on Kiwi soil, it was clear that the massive coupe was going to fight him the entire way. He said, "As I backed the Galaxy off the delivery truck ramps, the car fell off to one side and bent under the rear quarter. And basically, the car required a complete rebuild. It was a total mess." He stripped the Galaxy and separated the body from the chassis for an all-access, all-area pass. His mates helped him along the way as Justin formed fresh front floors, rear quarters, sills, and a rework of the poorly done chop. He said, "My mate Clint reskinned the C-pillars and around the back windows and re-chopped the A-pillars. The quarter windows were deleted, along with the door handles, boot lock, fuel filler, and most of the boot brightwork. Neat exhaust cutouts now feature in the rear sill panels, while up front the inner guards and firewall have been smoothed. Inside, the gashed cluster has been extended." When the 580 cubic inch big block arrived from the States, it had far too much compression for a blown motor. While fixing that issue, Justin found salt water had damaged the bores during shipping. And to rectify the problems, he had Hildred Motors in New Plymouth strip the engine and build it fresh from a new Eliminator Premier 4-bolt mains block. A 1,000 horsepower blown big block isn't crazy enough. Justin opted for a stout manual cog box behind a Tremec 6-speed backed up by a fresh 9-inch full of goodies. Along with the many must-do fixes Justin actively added to his workload, throughout the build. He said plans grew and grew. He laughs. He said, I wanted a big block, though it wasn't going to be blown in those early stages. And it was going to be pro street with 15-inch rims before 20s came into trend. Then my 12-inch rotors looked goofy behind the large open 20s, so I went up to 14-inch rotors. I wanted it to be big and bold to look different to the standard tubbed or blown street car. One thing that never wavered was Justin's requirement that the Galaxy be smothered in glossy black and finished with a punchy red interior. Black on a massive paneled car like a 63 Galaxy is one ballsy move. He said my friends Andrew Nitz, Lloyd, and Steve helped with the panel work. Justin says he said it was on a rotisserie and it was a big job for them to get it straight. Justin's mates then undertook a painting marathon to coat the enormous body in Chromax Centauri 6000 jet black. The results speak for themselves and capped off a long, arduous journey for Justin. 10 years later, with who knows how many thousands of hours that he spent on it, the Galaxy has come to what it is now. Now, it's been on the road for 4 years, and Justin still takes it to shows and go for drives just to have fun. With 1,000 horsepower and 900 feet per pounds of torque, plus being a manual, it's interesting to drive on the street. Everyone always hops out with a smile on their face. Well, Justin asked me to mention that the Galaxy is for sale. I can't imagine a better street rod than these two cars are. Now, you did good, Justin. Your standards are above and beyond anything I've seen from an independent hot rodder. We look forward to your next project, and we wish you good luck, safe racing, and the best of times in the future. Everybody stay safe and well. You were the most important part of this show, and we love you all. It's a great way to spend an hour together on a Monday night. We'll see you all next time. God bless America. Back to you, BP.
Thank you, John. Wow, that was an amazing, amazing racer of the week, and what a beautiful car. I'd love to see some photos one of these days.
Oh, it's the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And Justin is a terrific guy, too. It was great of him to approve of his feature.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we'll get down to Kiwi land one of these days. Been to Australia, which was lovely, but never to NZ. We'll make that happen maybe before we go 6 feet under. Anyway, let's talk about happier things. We had a great weekend of drag racing. Congrats to the winners at IHRA Galat Motorsports Park down there in Dunn, North Carolina. Really great stuff, folks. Literally moments before the show came on, we put up a brand new David Oakes photo feature from that event. So go on the front page of draglist.com and check it out. But first winners, Mr. Satterstein, I think is how you say his name, and Top Fuel. I mean, I love the ice race, fuel classes and mountain motor stock and top alcohol funny car and alcohol dragster. I mean, they got like everything. Just one of my favorite types of racing would be just a little bit of everything, and they seem to have it. Also, shout out to Budds Creek, as I mentioned, 12 miles south, my old track that I used to work at. They had their World Cup this weekend, which is always a must-see event if you're a Door Slammer fan. New world records in nearly every Door Slammer category, including an amazing 511 in Outlaw Pro Mod. Ridiculous runs. Cletus McFarland set new records in his category as well. Everybody is just flying down there. So no matter what kind of door slammer you like, check out the results from the MIR World Cup. Amazing things. Won't be able to go through them all tonight here, but there's lots of places online where you can find them. In fact, we've got in our story, drag racing story of the day, we always put up the news from around the world every single day on Draglist, and certainly up on Draglist. And also, I think we're now posting it to the Facebook page. You can find all those great results. Let's talk about some upcoming guests. Next Monday night, Stephen McLean, my old friend. with the Mill Road Boys top fuel dragster, Chevy powered, of course, front motor car. He's going to be joining us. So November 17th, find your way back here for Stephen. On the 24th, Robert West, also known as Radio Bob. Radio Bob, who on whose channel on the internet radio he covers our show and reposts it. We thank him for that, but we're going to get to find out all about that on the 24th of November. Coming into December, Lenny Lottig, the Factory X champion for the NHRA. But oh, by the way, Lenny just raced Mountain Motor Pro stock down in Galat Motorsports Park. So excited to talk to him about that as well. Jason Harris coming up on the 8th. He's a four-time PDRA champion in his wild door slammer. On the 15th, Justin Schreifer, the funny car racer, joins us. On the 22nd, we are going to take a little bit of a break for the Christmas week. Daughter Emily will be in town, so we're going to have the whole family at home, so we're excited about that. On the 29th, Teddy J. Say at the Say It Loud Motorsports Nitro Funny Car will be joining us to round out the year. Into January, Richard Gadsden, the Pro Stock motorcycle racer, will be joining us on the 5th. On the 12th, Scott Woody Woodruff of the IHRA telling us about that amazing second season of the IHRA. They have really knocked it out of the park this first year. And on the 19th, Mason Magaha, the NHRA Pro Stock Racer. I've heard that said two ways, Magaha and Magahe. I will certainly ask him before I get him on the show. The 26th, we have a special guest coming up, but we're going to save that one and make a special announcement as soon as Miss Kate authorizes me to do it. On the 2nd of February, Luke Bogacki, the IHRA dual champion, of course, a multi-time national event champion, one of the greatest sportsman racers ever. On the February 9th, Vito Micchiolo of the National Pro Mod Association. February 16th is unfilled at this point, but on February 23rd, get ready, get set for Sam Foyer, aka Animal Jim Foyer, the greatest Mammoth Mercury racer of all time. And we welcome our friend back to the show. He's just the wildest guy you ever want to meet. Unbelievable driver, super nice guy, and super smart guy. Super, super deep. And he can talk about novels as well as he can talk about tuning a 672 cubic inch Mammoth Mercury nitrous motor. So Animal Jim coming up. And man, we're like into February. I had to tell Kay to slow down on me because we're just getting like 6 months of 6 months of racers in advance, maybe three. I'm exaggerating, but thanks to Kay. Also thanks to Mr. Pete Gary, Pete Muriello. Almost said Pete Garamone, the great Denver area photographer, who's another pal of ours. I don't know where that came from, but maybe Pete's thinking about me out there in the Mountain State. Let's go on to those we lost, folks. Two folks to mention this week. Karen Salba, the top alcohol racer, reported that on November 4th, her friend Steve Lowen had passed away. Steve was always very supportive of us. It's been hard for him last couple of years. I did see him look like wheelchair bound, but he was a diehard adopted crew member, fan, and a true friend. So farewell to Steve Lowen, passing away on the 4th. Also on the 8th, we lost Wes Libby, who raced a Dodge Challenger, a B stock automatic car, good-looking car, well-regarded racer with a lot of friends. So our condolences to the family and friends of these great racers. And once again, guys, over the years, thanks for the thrills. We're proud to mention your names as we say farewell tonight. And with that, John, that we're close to a wrap. Your thoughts on the show?
Had a wonderful time tonight, and Paul is a great guy. He's he's got his own thing going here, and I love the paint scheme on his funny car. I think it's terrific, and I wish Paul the best. And I'm thanking everybody that showed up on the chat board tonight. We had a great time, and I'm looking forward to next week.
I love it. I didn't think to ask Paul about this, but Boston Monkey, whenever I hear that, one of my greatest, most fun albums of all time was the Jay Gals Band Live. I think they call it Aces, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
Live Aces, but where he's talking about the Boston Monkey and all the good stuff that all the different kinds of dances they were doing there. But if you haven't, Whammer Jammer, all the good songs from Jay Giles. If you haven't ever heard that Jay Giles band live, you can't. You have to check it out. It's very, very bluesy. John could play all those note for note, no doubt.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that album is called Full House.
Full House. That's right. It
Full
was.
House Live, and they, man, they hit the note on that one. It was great.
Yeah.
You know that graphic on the side of his funny car kind of reminds me of Steven Tyler, but I can't guarantee that. With all respects to Steve, you know.
Yeah.
So
Had the area right.
right.
All right. Well, very cool. Well, folks, let's do a wrap. We want to thank Paul Conlon for coming on. He was unbelievable. Great stories, great guy. Uh, Glad to finally feature him after knowing him for about 20 plus years now. John Bachman, my brother, Kay Turkelson, taking such good care of us. Oh, by the way, that reminds me, all the great shout outs that Kay is doing. She is going all over the place with her video camera and getting us unbelievable shout outs from folks like Brian Loans and all the great Jim Jet Nielsen and all the great racers that she encounters. And Chico Godama gave us a little shout out. So, I mean, she's dangerous now because Kay has direct access to the Draglist Facebook page, and she's been posting them and getting just a great response. So thank you, dear. I want to thank Pete Borriello for always looking out for us. Rob McCabe, of course, who was on the line and putting up brand new entries every day. David Oakes, who has a brand new feature on the front page of Draglist this very moment. Not 1 hour ago, it went up. Mel Bashir, Ron Toombs, and John Mernon II with the great photo reprints for all of our Draglist entries. And of course, Jeff Gilder, who got us started way back when, and Danny White, the man himself. Thanks in heaven to our brother. Click the like and share button once again, folks, down below. Click the little Draglist block. We are getting more subscribers every day. I think we're 380 or something now. We really want to hit 400. I want that to grow and grow and grow. I'm going to do. Anybody got an idea how to grow more subscribers? Let me know. But folks, check in at draglist.com every day to see what's new. We feature news from around the world, and of course some great features and all the NHRA results and all the IHRA results. And certainly Rob McCabe gets those on the drag list themselves. You can find us on the Radio Bob Network, which showcases our shows. And with that, we'll see you next Monday night, November 17th, for Stephen McLean. If you like Chevy powered top fuel front engine style, you got to come back and see him. Folks, I'm going to click the magic button here. Have an awesome, awesome week.